Dear friend, today we will discuss the tongue, anatomy of the tongue. Tongue is a conical muscular organ which is covered by mucous membrane, and this present in the oral cavity and posterior part present in the oropharynx. Okay, so we will see what are the different parts of the tongue. Whole tongue has the one tip. Okay, then there is the base, there is a dorsal surface, and ventral surface or the inferior surface. Inferior surface or ventral surface. Then it also have the root. Okay, so they are the different part of the tongue we will discuss here. Now come on the tip. Okay, here. Now tip, if you draw the diagram, suppose this is the mandible, cut section of the mandible. Okay, this is the teeth. Clear? And here, this is the tongue. Okay, here. It is like this. So, this tongue has a tip. This is the tip. Okay, here. Posterior part is the base, opposite here, and lower part here, which is attached at the, suppose this is the hyoid bone. Okay, so muscle is attached here, and especially here the genioglossus. We will see different muscles are there. Okay, here. So this is tip and this is the root. Root extend from the mandible up to the hyoid bone. Okay, here. So this is root, and superior surface is dorsal surface here, and inferior surface is the inferior surface or the ventral surface. So these are, and the body, the whole, this whole thing is body here, body of the tongue. Okay, so these are the different part of the tongue. Now come one by one the tip. Tip extend anteriorly up to the incisor teeth here. Okay, anteriorly it extends incisor teeth. This is the tip. Okay, and this tip touches the incisor teeth. Clear? Then the base, posteriorly, posterior part. Now again draw the diagram. Okay, here suppose this is the superior surface. We are drawing the diagram and seeing the superior surface of the tongue. Okay, so posterior part is the base here. Okay, here, and this base is situated toward the oropharynx. Okay, here, this base, and this base is connected, and posterior to this base here, this is the epiglottis. Okay, this is epiglottis. Clear? And this base here connected to the epiglottis by a midline fold, that is the median glossoepiglottic fold. Okay, this is the median glossoepiglottic fold, and the two lateral fold. Okay, here, two lateral fold here, like this, in this fashion. Okay, here, this. So these are the lateral glossoepiglottic fold, and in between this fold, glossoepiglottic fold lateral and the median glossoepiglottic, this space is the vallicula. Okay, this space vallicula. This is the lateral glossoepiglottic fold. Okay, this is the median glossoepiglottic fold. Okay, so in this fashion the dorsal part is attached to the epiglottis. This is the dorsal posterior most part, which is towards the oropharynx. Okay, Now come on the dorsal surface, the superior surface. This dorsal surface is covered by the mucous membrane and the moist, okay, and pink in color mucous membrane and lined with the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelia. Clear here? And whole of the dorsal surface is divided into the anterior 2/3 part and the posterior 1/3 part by a V-shaped sulcus present here. V-shaped sulcus present. This is the here, and this sulcus here is known as the sulcus terminalis. This is the sulcus terminalis. And at the starting here, there is one foramen is present, and this is known as the foramen cecum. Foramen cecum. Okay, here. So this is foramen cecum here. Okay. So for the foramen cecum, line diverges laterally and reaches up to the attachment of the here. This is a palatoglossal fold. Here we will become the palatoglossal fold here. Clear? So this whole surface is divided into the two parts, the posterior 1/3 part and anterior 2/3 part, and both surfaces are different. Okay, it acts as a different. Clear? Because the mucous membrane is attached differently. So we will see how they act. Anterior 2/3 surface act differently and posterior 1/3 act as a differently. Okay. Now come on the anterior 2/3. Anterior 2/3 surface here, the mucous membrane of this anterior 2/3 is adhered to the muscle. Okay, underlying muscle here. So there is a no submucous coat. Though the lamina propria are present, but no submucous coat is there. Mucous membrane adhere to the muscle. Okay, here. And in the anterior 2/3 part, the lamina propria evaginate, comes out as a papilla. Okay, different papillas are there. So lamina mucous membrane and lamina propria comes out in the circular form or the conical form or the rounded form. So they form a different papilla. Okay. So there are different papillas are there. Okay, we will see how there are different papillas are there. First come the circumvallate papilla. There are different 4 papillas there. First we will just see the vallate papilla, or also known as circumvallate papilla. Circumvallate papilla. Okay, here. Second is fungiform papilla. Fungiform. Okay. Third is foliate. Foliate papilla. Fourth is filiform papilla. Filiform papilla. So there are the 4 type of the papilla are present. Okay. First come on the vallate papilla. What is vallate papilla? Vallate papilla are 8 to 12 in number. They are present in the single row just anterior to the here line which separate the anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 here. Or we can say the in front of the sulcus terminalis. Okay, here. So these are the vallate papilla or circumvallate. These vallate papilla are circular in shape. Okay, here, and they have a truncated cone. Base is white and apex is conical shape. Okay, here. So look here. If you draw the diagram of the papilla like this, this is the okay. This is the papilla. Circular sulcus is there. This is here. Okay. So this is papilla and this is circular sulcus, which is around the papilla here. Okay. So this is the conical shape, wide base. Okay. Base is wide here. This is a cone. Okay, cone. And in the wall of the papilla here, there are the taste buds are present here in the wall. Okay. So these are the taste buds. Okay, here. These are the taste bud present in the wall here. This is the wall. These are the taste bud present, and in the apical part here, there is the opening of the glands. Okay, opening of the serous glands. Okay, present, and opening of the serous gland at the root or the lower part of this circumvallate papilla opens. Clear? So these are the serous gland. So this is the circumvallate papilla. Okay, here. And circumvallate papilla, specialty of these glands are when the food particle enters, this particle enters in the papilla and mix with the serous secretion. Clear? So this is circumvallate papilla. Then come on the fungiform papilla. Okay, second is the fungiform papilla. Fungiform papilla are present at the side. Okay, these are the fungiform papilla which are present at the side of the tongue, anterior 2/3 part of the tongue here. Okay, here, these papilla. And these papilla are rounded, reddish elevation. Okay, here rounded and reddish elevation here. Okay, so, and they are present at the side and also at the tip. They are also present at the tip of the tongue. So these are the fungiform papilla. Okay, then here are the foliate papilla. Foliate papilla are the transverse ridges here. They are like a transverse ridges. 2-3 in number. They mostly present in the rabbit. Okay, the more present in the rabbit in comparison to the human being here. 3 or 4, here the vertical ridges at the side of the tongue, just in front of the sulcus terminalis. Okay, here. So these are the mucous fold actually. Okay. So these are the papilla, the foliate papilla. Clear? And the last is the fourth one is the filiform papilla. Filiform papilla, they are the large in number. Okay, here they present rest of the dorsal surface, anterior 2/3, means in front of the circumvallate papilla. They are present in the form of the V shape. Okay, here parallel to the circumvallate papilla like this. Okay, so they present the V shape here. Okay, here. And these filiform papilla, they are tiny conical projection. They are conical projection here. Okay, here, like this. Suppose, like this. These are the conical projection, and they do not have the taste bud in the wall. Okay, here. Remaining of the 3 papilla, the circumvallate papilla we have seen have the taste bud in the wall. Fungiform papilla also have the taste bud. Okay. While here the foliate papilla present in the rabbit also have the taste bud. While the filiform papilla, they are the conical in shape. Okay, they come protrude through the mucous membrane and give rise to the rough surface. Okay, because this is lined by the keratinized epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, here. So this is lined by the keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. So that's why the anterior surface here, these papilla give rise to the rough surface. Okay, and this rough surface is due to the food is imprisoned between the dorsal surface of the tongue and the palate here. So it is easily mixed. Okay, here. So that's why it gives rise to the rough surface here. Clear? So this is the filiform papilla. If you see the shape of the fungiform papilla, so fungiform papilla here, this is the fungiform papilla. I told you here the rounded like this. Okay, these are the test buds in the wall. Okay, so they are the rounded fungiform papilla rounded, and foliate papilla. I told you foliate papilla are the vertical fold, so they are like this, small fold like this. Okay, here. So these are the foliate papilla. Clear? Here. So different papilla. So these are different shape of the papilla. Clear? So this is the dorsal surface, anterior 2/3 of the tongue. Okay, here. Now, post-sulcal part. If you see the post-sulcal, we have discussed the anterior 2/3. Now, this is the post-sulcal part. What about the specialty of the post-sulcal part? Post-sulcal part, the mucous membranes not adhere with the muscle. There is a submucous coat is there, which is made up of the loose connective tissue. So, loose submucous coat is there. Okay, here. And in the submucous coat, there are the glands, the serous glands and the mucous glands present here. Okay, here. In the submucous coat, there are the serous gland and mucous glands are there. Okay, here. Suppose the green color are the mucous glands. Okay. And in spite of this, in the dorsal surface, there is a collection of the lymphocytes in the form of the follicles. Okay, here. So in the posterior part, there are the collection of the lymphocyte in the form of the follicles here. Large follicles are there. Okay. And these are known as the lymphoid follicle and also known as the lingual tonsil. Okay. They are also known as the lingual tonsil here. So these are the lingual tonsil here, the lymphoid follicle here. Lymphoid follicle, they are also known as the lingual tonsil. They act as a tonsil. Okay, here. So this is a specialty of the dorsal part here. And dorsal part, I told you, they do not have the taste bud. Okay, posterior part do not have the taste bud here, devoid of taste bud. Only the anterior 2/3 part has the taste bud. Clear? While the posterior 2/3 part has the lymphoid follicle and the glands. Clear? So this is all about the dorsal surface. Clear? Now what about the inferior surface here? Inferior surface, if you see the inferior surface, on the inferior surface, there are 2 or 3 structures are there. Here, important structure. Here, suppose this is the inferior surface. Okay, inferior surface. In the inferior surface, here first is that there is a midline fold of the mucous membrane is there, through which the tongue is attached to the floor here. And this is known as the frenulum. Okay, this is known as the frenulum lingui. Okay, this is the frenulum. Frenulum, which is attached at the inferior surface to the floor. Okay, here. So this is a mucous fold here. And by the side of the mucous fold here, there is a elevation is there. Okay, by the side. And this elevation is known as the papilla. Okay, here. This elevation is known as the papilla or also known as the sublingual papilla here. So these are the sublingual papilla on the both side of the here frenulum lingui. Okay, here. So these are known as the sublingual papilla, where the submandibular duct opens here. Is the opening of the submandibular duct. Okay, the sublingual papilla in the summit of the submandibular sublingual papilla. So this is sublingual papilla. Okay, this is opening of the submandibular duct. Now, by the side of the sublingual papilla here, there is another elevation is there, here like this, which extends to the side here. Okay, this elevation is known as the sublingual fold. Okay, here. So this is the sublingual fold. Clear? So these are the sublingual fold here. And sublingual fold represent the deep to the sublingual fold. There is a sublingual gland is there. Okay, here. So sublingual fold is produced due to the presence of the sublingual gland here. Clear? Now, another thing here, by the side of the frenulum here, there is a dark color structure is seen here. Dark color, bluish or greenish structure is seen, and this structure is due to the presence of the deep lingual vein here. Okay, here, deep lingual vein. Clear? So this is the presence of the deep lingual vein. The dark color structure is seen here. Okay, here. Then by the side of this dark color structure, again there is the fold. Okay, again there is a mucus fold is seen on the lateral side here, and this mucus fold is known as the plica fimbriata. Okay, this is the plica fimbriata. Okay, so this is the plica fimbriata here. The dark color, fold is seen lateral to the dark color sublingual or the deep lingual vein. Okay, yeah. So this is the plica fimbriata. Okay, so this is the these are the features of the inferior surface of the tongue. Okay, now come on the lateral margin. These are the lateral margin. Okay, so lateral margin is free. They are the free. And the mucous membrane lateral margin continue with the floor of the oral cavity here. Okay, so and this lateral margin, especially the lateral margin here, suppose these are the lateral margin, and these lateral margin are connected anteriorly. There is a fold here, fold of the mucous membrane and the arch here. This fold is known as the palatoglossal fold here. Deep to this palatoglossal fold, there is a palatoglossus muscle is attached. Okay, here. Another fold is present posteriorly towards the pharynx. Okay, pharyngeal valve or the dorsal surface. Okay, here, the posterior 2/3 of the here. This is like this. And this fold is known as the palatopharyngeal fold here. Okay, here. And both folds are attached at the palate here. Here the palate here. So here. So this is the palatoglossal fold. Okay. This is the palatoglossal fold. Okay. And this is the palatopharyngeal. And in between the palatoglossal portion, there is a presence of the tonsil. Okay. This is the main tonsil, the palatine tonsil here. Clear? So this palatine tonsil present between the palato. So lateral margin of the tongue, there is an attachment of the palatoglossal fold. Okay. And posteriorly there is the palatopharyngeal fold. But this is not attached to the margin, but it attached to the posterior part in the pharyngeal wall and the palate. Okay, yeah. So this is the palatoglossal. Then come on the root. What about the root? I told you this is the root here. Root extends from the mandible up to the hyoid bone here. And this is due to the presence of the different muscle and especially the genioglossus muscle. This genioglossus muscle start from the genial tubercle fiber, extend towards the hyoid bone and the tongue, posterior side here, and the tip of the tongue. So this is whole structure is known as the root, and root is mainly formed by the genioglossus muscle. Clear? So this is the root, and then we have seen the base. Posterior part is the base here. Okay, and then the body. This is the whole body. Now, what is body? Body is all the part of the tongue from the root to the apex here. So this is known as the whole body. So whole body means whole tongue. Okay, here. So whole tongue, whole body is here. This is the different part here. Apex or root here and the base. This is known as the body of the tongue. So these are the different part of the tongue. We also include here the body. Clear here. Now, come on the taste bud. What about the taste bud? Taste bud is a taste sensitive area which is made up of the spindle type of the cells. Okay, here, vertical cells. And these taste buds are present in the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, in the palate, and the posterior pharyngeal wall, and the posterior surface of epiglottis. Okay, so these are the certain sites where the taste buds are present, and these taste buds are shape of the spindle shaped cells. Okay, look here, these are made up of the like spindle shaped cells like this. Okay, like this here. And these taste buds made up of two type of the cell. One are the tense sensitive cells. Okay, here. These are the receptor cells, and these peripherally are the supporting cells here. So these are the supporting cell. And these are the sensitive cells. And these cells superiorly open into a pore. Okay, here. Into the pore in the surface of the mucous membrane here, and this known as the gustatory pore. Gustatory pore. Okay, and these are the nerve fiber which start from the sensitive cell here. Okay, here. So when any food and or placed on the tongue, it is mixed with the mucus and the serous fluid, and this fluid enters into this pore here, and through this pore here we feel the sensation of the taste. Clear? So these are for the taste bud. These are the taste. This whole structure is known as the taste bud here. Okay, so there are the different tastes we know here: the bitter taste, the sweet taste, the sour taste. Okay, and the salt. The sweet and the salt taste are here. The taste buds are present at the tip. Okay, here. So salt and the sweet taste bud present at the tip. Okay, and the sour taste bud present at the lateral side. Okay, while the bitter taste bud present on the posterior side, pharyngeal part of the tongue. Okay, so these are the different taste sensation taste buds present in the area of the tip, lateral part, and the posterior part of the tongue. Clear? So this. Now come on the muscles. What are the muscles of the tongue? The muscles of the tongue, they are present in the deep to the mucous membrane. But before discussing the muscle, you should know the whole of the tongue is divided into the two parts. Okay, look here. Suppose this is the mandible. This is the one side of the, this is a coronal section I am drawing here. Okay, here, and this is the mylohyoid muscle. The mylohyoid muscle which comes from the mylohyoid line, and here is the midline septum. Okay, this is the midline septum which is present in the midline, start from the base and the when dorsal surface of the tongue descends downward towards the hyoid bone here. Okay, and this is the tongue. Okay, here. So the dorsal surface of the tongue here, and this is the midline septum. Clear? And this midline septum here, this is a fibrous septum which descends downward and divide the whole of the tongue into the two half. Okay, right and left half. So different muscles are present in these half. Clear? Now, what are the muscles? Muscles of the tongue, they are the two extrinsic muscle and the intrinsic muscle. Okay, extrinsic muscle start from the bony part or the different bones, okay, and insert into the substance of the tongue here. Clear? While the intrinsic muscle start either from the septum or either from the lateral side or the side of the tongue, means substance of the tongue, and either it insert of the substance of the tongue, lateral side, or either insert of the septum here. So they do not have the bony origin and the insertion. Clear? So extrinsic muscle, and in this, these are the difference, the extrinsic muscle and intrinsic muscle. Extrinsic muscle are responsible for the change of the position of the tongue. Okay, while the intrinsic muscle are responsible for the change of the shape of the tongue. Okay, yeah. So the different shapes are produced by the intrinsic muscle, while the extrinsic muscle give rise to the change the position of the tongue. Okay. Now, what are these muscles? First come the extrinsic muscle. Extrinsic muscles, actually there are 5 pairs of the muscle are there. Okay. These are genioglossus, 1, 2 hyoglossus, 3 palatoglossus, 4th is styloglossus, and the 5th is a chondroglossus. Chondroglossus. So these are the 5 pair of the intrinsic muscle are here, and they are at a different. So we will see the extrinsic muscle first. Okay, what are the extrinsic muscles here? Okay, first come the genioglossus here. Okay, so this is the mandible. Here, this is the hyoid bone. Okay, this is the styloid process. Okay, now first come the genioglossus. Genioglossus must, and this is the tongue. Suppose this is the tongue. Shape of the tongue. Yeah. Okay, now genioglossus muscle arises from the superior genial tubercle. On the mandible, there are the two tubercle, superior genial tubercle and the inferior genial tubercle. Okay, from the superior genial tubercle, this genioglossus muscle arises, and it is a fan-shaped muscle. Okay, fiber spread. Okay, so lower fiber passes towards the hyoid bone. Okay, body of the hyoid bone. Clear? Lowest fiber, and the intermediate fiber passes towards the substance of the tongue here, like this, for the posterior side. Okay, like this, here, and the upper fiber passes towards the body and the tip of the tongue like this. It passes like here. Okay, here. So this is a huge bulky muscle here, which form the main content or main part of the tongue here. So there are the three type of the fiber. Upper fiber passes upward and the forward and insert towards the tongue or tip of the tongue. Okay, here. So these are the three different type of the fiber of the genioglossus muscle. Clear? Now, what about the action of the genioglossus muscle? Action of the genioglossus muscle, first it protrude the tongue anteriorly. Okay, here. Tip of the tongue anteriorly here. Clear? And also it make the tongue concave here. Clear? From side to side. So dorsal surface of the tongue becomes concave and the tip of the tongue comes anteriorly or outside the mouth here. Clear? And important is this, because due to this muscle attached at the tip as well as the hyoid bone, so this muscle prevent the tongue to fall down on the posterior side or in the oropharynx here. Okay? Because this muscle when contract, it protrude the tongue anteriorly, hold mass. Okay, here. So it prevent the falling back of the tongue posteriorly. This muscle is known as the safety muscle of the tongue. Safety muscle. When the patient is unconscious, we have to take out the tongue or protrude the tongue by manually anteriorly. Clear? So this is the safety muscle of the tongue. Clear? Now second muscle is the hyoglossus muscle. What about the hyoglossus muscle? Hyoglossus muscle start from the greater cornu of the hyoid bone and the body of the hyoid bone. So I am drawing different color, suppose green color here. Here. There is a quadrilateral muscle here. The fiber start from the greater cornu and the body of the hyoid bone. Okay, here. Ascends upward and insert at the lateral side of the, or we can say lateral margin of the tongue here. Between the styloglossus laterally, okay, and inferior longitudinal muscle medially. So this is the here the hyoglossus muscle. It's very also important muscle here, the key muscle of this region. Clear? Now, what are the relation of the hyoglossus muscle? Now, superficial relation. Superficial relations are, first, if you see, there's a mylohyoid muscle here. You know the mylohyoid arises from the mylohyoid line and insert towards the hyoid bone here. So, here, this is the mylohyoid muscle here. Okay, here. So, mylohyoid lies like this here. Okay. So, mylohyoid muscle first come on the superficial surface of superficial relation of this muscle, and then there are different nerves in the blood vessel. Okay, here. Now, before here, another muscle is the digastric muscle. This is the mastoid process. Okay, here, and from the mastoid process, the digastric muscle here passes. So it comes from the lateral relation. Clear? Then from the styloid process, the stylohyoid muscle descends. Okay, here. So again here, this is the stylohyoid. Here. So it also come on the lateral surface, lateral side of this hyoglossus muscle. Okay. So stylohyoid muscle. Then there's a lingual nerve. Okay, here. Lingual nerve. This lingual nerve comes in this region. Okay, here. And passes like this. Here. Okay. The lingual nerve. Then the styloglossus muscle as well. Okay, here. So, this is the styloglossus muscle from the tip and the medial surface. Here it passes like this on the lateral side of the muscle and insert on the lateral side of the tongue here. Okay, so this is the styloglossus muscle then the submandibular gland, the deep part of the submandibular gland here. Okay, so this is the deep part of the submandibular gland. Okay, because the superficial part comes anterior to the mylohyoid muscle here. Along with the above this deep part, there is a ganglia, submandibular ganglia here. So this is the submandibular ganglia, just above the deep part of the submandibular gland, and the submandibular duct here. So this is the submandibular duct here, which start from the deep part here of the gland, which also come on the lateral side of this gland, this muscle. Okay, here. Then the hypoglossal nerve. Okay, hypoglossal nerve also passes on the lateral side here. This is the hypoglossal nerve. Okay, here, which passes below the deep part of the gland here. Okay, here. So this is the hypoglossal nerve. Clear? And so these are the certain structure which are present here, superficial to the this hyoglossus muscle here. Okay. Now deep relation of this muscle or the deep to this muscle. If you see, suppose again, this is the mandible. Okay, here, and this is the tongue. Okay, here. So if you remove all the structure along with the hyoglossus muscle, so what you will see in the deeper part? In the deeper part, you will see here the genioglossus muscle. Okay, here. This is genioglossus muscle, I told you here. This is present deep to the hyoglossus muscle here. Okay, here. Genioglossus muscle here. Okay, here. Then the inferior longitudinal muscle of the tongue here. Here with the inferior longitudinal muscle come on the medial side of the this hyoglossus muscle. So this is the inferior longitudinal muscle here. Clear? Then the middle constrictor muscle as well. Okay, middle constrictor muscle arises from the this greater cornu-hyoid bone. So it passes like this here. Okay, it's a fan-shaped muscle here. Okay, so this muscle also passes deep to this hyoglossus muscle, the middle constrictor muscle. Okay, it passes like this. Yeah. Then glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay, glossopharyngeal nerve here passes deep to the tongue because it carries the sensation. Okay, and also enters into the pharynx. So this is the glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay, then the stylohyoid ligament here. Here this is the hyoid bone. Okay, here is the styloid process. Okay, and this is the stylohyoid ligament. And the styloid process to the hyoid bone, the greater cornu. Clear? So stylohyoid ligament here. Clear? So it is also deep to this muscle. We have removed the muscle. If you look here, this is the muscle. Okay. So here the structure passes deep to the muscle. Important is the lingual artery here. Here, this is the external carotid artery here, and this external carotid artery gives rise to lingual artery, which passes through the posterior border of the hyoglossus muscle and passes deep to this muscle, and then ascends upward and then supply the tongue. Okay, so this is the lingual artery. Clear? So these are the structure which passes deep to the hyoglossus muscle. Okay, yes, so these are the relation, the superficial relation, these are the deep relation of the hyoglossus muscle. Now this hyoglossus, what is the action of hyoglossus muscle? So when the hyoglossus, hyoglossus insert lateral side here. Okay, so when this muscle contracts, so what's happened? The dorsal surface become convex. Okay, yeah. So it makes the dorsal surface convex here. So suppose this is the tongue here, and both hyoglossus muscle insert here. So it contracts. So what's happened? The lateral side descends downward and the middle portion of the tongue ascends upward. So it makes the tongue convex here. Okay. While the genioglossus we have seen, genioglossus passes here, contract. So it makes the surface of superior dorsal surface concave here. Clear? So this is the hyoglossus muscle here. Now next muscle is the chondroglossus muscle. What about the chondroglossus? Chondroglossus muscle is actually a separated part of the genioglossus muscle here. It arises from the lesser cornu here. It arises from this is the lesser cornu here. Okay. And it ascends upward and inserts at the side of the tongue. Okay. It arises also from the body. Okay. Here. It ascends upward here like this and insert at the body of the lateral side of the body of the tongue. Okay. So this is the chondroglossus. What is the action? It depresses the side of the tongue. Same thing here. It's like a hyoglossus muscle. So it depresses the side of the tongue because it inserts at the side of the tongue. So this is the chondroglossus muscle. Okay. Now styloglossus. What about the styloglossus? We have seen this is the styloglossus. Styloglossus muscle arises from the tip and the medial side of the styloid process, descends downward, passes on the lateral side of the tongue, okay, here, and lateral to the hyoglossus muscle, yeah, and insert at the lateral side of the tongue, okay, above the, here, the inferior longitudinal muscle, yeah. So this is the styloglossus muscle. What about the styloglossus? Styloglossus muscle, when contract, it pull the tongue backward here. Okay, here, backward. So it is the antagonist to the genioglossus muscle here. Yeah. So it pull tongue backward and the upward also here, upward direction. Clear? So this is the styloglossus muscle. What about the palatoglossus muscle? Palatoglossus muscle arises from the lower surface of the palate here. Suppose this is the palate, okay, here. This is the soft palate. Okay, so from the soft palate here, this palatoglossus muscle arises and descends downward obliquely and attaches at the junction of the anterior 2/3 and the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Okay, or we can say that at the side of the sulcus terminalis. Clear? So this muscle rises from the palatine aponeurosis, lower surface of the palatine aponeurosis. Palatine aponeurosis is a fibrous framework of the soft palate here. So this muscle rises from the palatine aponeurosis, descends downward obliquely and forward and insert at the junction of anterior 2/3 and the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Okay, here. So this is the palatoglossus, and this I told you palatoglossus makes the palatoglossal arch and the palatoglossal fold. Around is a mucous membrane, so it makes a palatoglossal fold, and this palatoglossal form the anterior pillar of the tonsillar fossa, or the anterior tonsillar pillar, we can say. Clear? And this muscle, when contract here, it pulls the tongue upward, okay, and posteriorly. Both side of the muscle when contract here, suppose this is the muscle of the one side and the another side come here, so it pulls the tongue upward and posteriorly here. So it closes the oropharyngeal opening here. Clear? So it helps in the closing or cutting the oral cavity from the oropharynx here. Clear? So this is the palatoglossus muscle. Okay. Now come on the intrinsic muscle. What about the intrinsic muscle? So look here, the intrinsic muscle of the tongue. Suppose this is the tongue. What are the intrinsic muscle? First, you know the name. What's the superior longitudinal muscle? Superior longitudinal muscle. First, there are the four intrinsic muscle, four pair. Okay. Then the inferior longitudinal muscle. Inferior longitudinal. Okay. Then the transverse lingual. Transverse muscle. Transverse linguae, and the fourth is the vertical linguae. Vertical linguae. Okay, muscle. So these are the four muscles. What about the superior constrictor? Okay, here superior constrictor muscle is present just deep to the mucous membrane on the superior aspect, like this. Okay, here, and this muscle arises from the posterior end of the midline septum. Here, suppose I told you this is a midline septum here. So it arises from the posterior end of the midline septum, passes anteriorly here, and insert at the lateral margin of the tongue, here, like this. Okay, it arises from the septum here and passes anteriorly and attaches at the lateral margin of the tongue. We can say this muscle diverges. Fiber of this muscle diverges here, like this. Okay, it comes from the midline septum, passes anteriorly here, okay, and insert at the lateral side of the tongue. Okay, so this is the superior longitudinal muscle. When this muscle contracts, so what's happened? It makes the superior surface of the tongue concave here. Okay, so concavity is first form, and also it shortens the length of the tongue here. Okay, so when this muscle, suppose this muscle come here like this, so it contract here. So what's happened? The length of the tongue is decreased here. Okay, so it shortens the length of the tongue and makes the dorsal surface concave. Clear first? Now, second muscle is the inferior longitudinal muscle. Inferior longitudinal muscle is opposite to the superior longitudinal muscle. What's happened? It arises from the lateral side of the tongue and insert at the anterior part of the midline septum here. Okay, here I am drawing the different color. So this is the inferior longitudinal muscle. It act like this here. It is opposite to the here. It arises from the lateral side of the tongue, substance of the tongue here, deep to the mucosa. Okay, passes anteriorly towards the midline septum and attaches at the midline septum here. Clear? So this is the inferior longitudinal muscle. Okay, now inferior longitudinal muscle again here, it when contract here, it is opposite actually, but it shortens the length of the tongue, but it makes the surface of the dorsal surface of the tongue convex here. Okay, suppose this is the tongue. Okay, so muscle comes here like this here. Okay, so when contract here, so lateral part of the tongue descends downward and the muscle superior surface becomes convex here. Okay, so these are the function. So short and also shorten the tongue. Okay, because contract, so this tongue size decreases. Okay, so it shorten the length and makes the dorsal surface convex. Clear? Now, what about the third muscle, the transversus linguae? Transversal linguae muscle arises from the midline septum here. I told you here, this is the diagram. Okay, here. It arises from the midline septum here and passes laterally, like this. Okay. It comes from the septum, okay, passes laterally here, yeah, and attaches at the lateral side of the tongue. Okay. So this is the transverse linguae. And this transverse linguae, action of the transverse linguae is, it reduces the width. When the muscle contracts here, it reduces the width of the tongue. Okay, here. And increases the length of the tongue, because the whole mass, when this muscle contracts, so what's happening? It reduces the width and increases the length here of the tongue. Clear? So this is the action. So this is opposite to the, we can say, the inferior longitudinal and the superior longitudinal muscle. Okay. So this is the transverse linguae and verticalis linguae. Verticalis linguae arises from the superior side, okay, here, deep to the mucous membrane, descends downward, passes laterally here, okay, curve laterally, and insert at the lateral side of the tongue here, like this. Here, okay, on the both sides, like this. Okay, so arises from the lamina propria of the dorsum of the tongue, okay, here superiorly, and descends downward and going laterally, okay, through the substance of the fiber of the genioglossus muscle, and then inside on the lateral side of the tongue. Clear? And now it is opposite to the transversus linguae. It increases the width of the tongue, and also it makes the dorsal surface of the tongue concave here. Okay, because the tongue, the muscle rises here and inside here. So when it contracts here, so what happens? The side of the tongue descends downward like this. So it makes the dorsal surface concave, and also it increases the width here because the muscle contract pulls the both the margin of the tongue laterally here, downward and laterally. So this increases the width of the tongue first, and it makes the superior surface of the tongue concave. Clear? So this is the verticalis. This is, we can say, the opposite to the transversus linguae muscle. Clear? So these are the different intrinsic muscle here. Now, if you see the synopsis, how the different muscles change the shape and the size of the tongue here. What are the muscles which change the shape of the tongue? Okay, we will see. So the first is the concave. What are the muscle which produce the concavity on the dorsal surface of the tongue? One is the genioglossus. Genioglossus first. Second is the styloglossus. We have seen the styloid muscle come from the styloid process and pull the tongue posteriorly and it inside the side, so it makes the tongue concave. Okay, yeah. So styloglossus. Third is the superior longitudinal muscle. And the fourth is the vertical muscle, verticalis linguae. Verticalis linguae muscle. Okay. So these are the muscle which produces the concavity on the dorsal surface of the tongue. Okay, here. Then the convexity. Convexity produced by the, first is the hyoglossus muscle, because this muscle inserted the lateral side, so this contracts, so lateral margin of the tongue descends downward, so superior surface becomes convex. Okay, hyoglossus muscle. Then the inferior longitudinal muscle. Inferior longitudinal. Okay, muscle here. So these are the muscle which produces the convexity. Okay. Now muscle shortening the tongue. Shortening the tongue. Okay. These are the superior and the inferior longitudinal muscle we have seen. Okay, here. Superior and the inferior longitudinal muscle. Okay. Shortening of the tongue. Clear? Then lengthening of the tongue. Lengthening of tongue. That is the transverse linguae muscle. Okay. Shortening is also produced by the vertical muscle. Vertical muscle. And lengthening of the tongue. Lengthening of the tongue is produced by the transverse linguae muscle. Transverse linguae muscle. Okay. So these are the muscles which produce the different shape of the tongue here. Yeah? And size of the tongue. So this is these are the muscles. Clear? Now, what is the nerve supply of the tongue? Because very important. It is asked in the examination. Nerve supply of the tongue. So different nerves supply the tongue. Nerve supply of tongue. Okay. One is the motor nerve. Okay. Motor nerve which supply the muscles. Okay. One is the general sensory. General sensory. which carry the general sensation, pain, temperature, touch. Okay. Then the spatial sensory. Spatial sensory means taste sensation. Okay. Scary. Fourth is the secretomotor. Secretomotor to the glands. Okay. So in this fashion, 4 category we will see the nerve supply of the tongue. Now the motor supply the muscles. Okay. All muscles are supplied by the hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve, except the one muscle, that is a palatoglossus. Okay. Palatoglossus, which is supplied by the spinal accessory nerve. Okay. Spinal accessory nerve. Okay. Because this is the muscles of the, we can say also the soft palate. Okay. So all the soft palate muscle we know is supplied by the spinal accessory nerve along with the vagus nerve. So palatoglossus muscle supplied by the spinal accessory nerve. Okay, here. Or the cranial part of the spinal accessory nerve. Cranial part of spinal accessory nerve. Clear? Now general sensation. General sensation from the anterior 2/3 of the tongue carried by the this lingual nerve. Okay, here. While the posterior 1/3 is carried by the glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay, glossopharyngeal nerve here. And general sensation here from the vallicula. Okay, we have seen the vallicular portion is carried by the this internal laryngeal nerve. Internal laryngeal nerve. Okay, which is the branch of the superior laryngeal and also the vagus nerve. Clear? So these are the sensation, general sensation. What about the spatial sensation? Spatial sensation from the anterior 2/3. Okay, tongue carried by the chorda tympani nerve. You know the taste sensation, chorda tympani. Okay, while the posterior 1/3 by the glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay, the same which carry the general sensation, glossopharyngeal nerve carry both type of the sensation, general sensation and the spatial sensation. And the vallicula, same, from the vallicula the tense sensation carried by the internal laryngeal nerve. Internal laryngeal nerve. Okay, here. So these are the spatial sensation. And the secretomotor to the gland. Secretomotor to the gland come from the parasympathetic fiber, and the parasympathetic fiber come from the facial nerve. Okay, this is the facial nerve. You know, facial nerve is the superior salivatory nucleus. Okay, superior salivatory nucleus, and this superior salivatory nucleus nerve fiber passes through the chorda tympani nerve, and from the chorda tympani nerve then it passes through the lingual nerve and then relayed into the submandibular ganglia, and from the submandibular ganglia postganglionic fiber arises and reaches the glands through the lingual nerve. Okay, so the secretomotor fiber, parasympathetic fiber comes from the facial nerve and passes through the chorda tympani nerve, then through the lingual nerve and reaches towards the gland. While the sympathetic fiber comes from the superior cervical sympathetic ganglia and nerve fiber passes around the lingual artery. Okay, here. So sympathetic fiber. Okay, so the lingual artery. The plexus is formed around the lingual artery, and so when the lingual artery enters into the tongue, it supplies the vasomotor fiber. Okay, here. So These are the nerve supply of the tongue. Okay, so different. So this is the, if you are asked the question, so just give the answer in the different heading. The motor supply, general sensory supply, special sensory or taste fiber, or secretomotor to the glands. So there are 4 heading you have to write down, different nerves. Okay, here. Now the arterial supply. Arterial supply. Arterial supply, the 3 arteries supply the tongue. One is the main artery, is the lingual artery. Lingual artery. You know the lingual artery comes from the external carotid artery, and this is a chief artery and supply the most of the tongue. Okay, here. Also supply the pharyngeal part. Okay, here. So this is the lingual artery, and the lingual artery, you know, here, if I draw the diagram, so suppose this is the external carotid artery, and this is the lingual artery. First part, a loop. Second part passes deep to the hypoglossal muscle, and the third part passes here. Okay, so here. So this artery passes first here. This is the posterior part supplied by the dorsal lingual branches. Okay, these are the dorsal lingual branches which supply the posterior part of the tongue. Okay, here, dorsal lingual branches. The remaining artery, when passes anteriorly, it enters into the substance of the tongue and reaches towards the tip of the tongue. Suppose this is the here the tongue. Okay, here. So these are the dorsal lingual branches supply the posterior part of the tongue, while the remaining of the artery supply the rest of the tongue. Clear? So this is the lingual artery. Second artery is here. Is the ascending palatine and tonsillar branches. Ascending palatine and the tonsillar branches of facial artery. Okay. So facial artery also supply, when ascending palatine ascends upward, tonsillar branches, it supply the posterior and the side of the tongue. And the third is the ascending pharyngeal artery. Ascending pharyngeal artery, which supply the posterior and lateral part of the tongue. So these are the ascending pharyngeal artery. Then the last is the venous drainage. Venous drainage. Venous drainage comes through the lingual vein. The 2 type of the set, the superficial set and the deep set here. Okay, superficial. The superficial veins drains the tip and the under surface of the tongue here. So these are the superficial drains are here. Tip and the under surface. These are the superficial set here. Okay, here. They unite to form the vein. Okay, here. So dorsal lingual vein and the deep vein. Deep vein comes from the deep side here. Okay, here. The posterior side. Here. So deep vein here. They both vein unite. Okay, to form the lingual vein here. And this lingual vein enter into the internal jugular vein. Okay, it passes in front of the carotid, external carotid artery, and then enters into the internal jugular vein. So the other veni comitatus passes through, you know, here the hypoglossal nerve runs here. Okay, like this. And this hypoglossal nerve runs along with the 2 veins. Okay, and these veins come from the tip and the dorsum of the tongue here, and these vein descends downward and passes through the by the side of the hypoglossal nerve and then enters into the internal jugular vein. Okay, here. So this is the venous drainage of the tongue. So after the venous drainage, now we will discuss the lymphatic drainage of the tongue. This is very, very important for the clinical point of view as well as the anatomical point of view. Now, just first, this lymphatic drainage from the tongue is drained by the 2 plexus. One is the intramuscular plexus and the submucous plexus. And these plexus are situated in the 4 region. Just you draw the diagram. Look here. This is the, here suppose this is the tongue. This is tongue, and this is the sulcus terminalis. Divide the tongue in the dorsal and the ventral part. Okay, and this is here the margin. Okay, and this is tip of the tongue, this portion. Okay, so whole tongue divided into the 4 part. One here tip, one other this lateral margin, central area of the anterior 2/3, and the dorsal area. Okay, now here this is the wall of the pharynx. Okay, here, and this is the muscle, the mylohyoid muscle. Okay, this is mylohyoid muscle, and here is this is the hyoid bone. This is the greater cornu and the lesser cornu, and this is the body. Okay, here, and below here is the thyroid cartilage. This is opposite cornu. These are the superior okay, here. So this is thyroid cartilage, and here this is the thyroid membrane. Yes, okay. This is the thyroid membrane. This is attached to the thyroid cartilage to the hyoid bone. Okay, now look here. These are the submental lymph node. This group is submental lymph node. Yes, I will draw the red color. Okay. This is submental lymph node, and here is the submandibular group of the lymph node. This is submandibular group of the lymph node. Here, these are submandibular group of lymph node, and here is the jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node. This is the jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node. And below here is the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node. Here this is the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node. Clear? Now how the lymphatic drainage? Look here. Lymphatic drainage from the tip is very important to understand. From the tip, central part, and the dorsal part. Lymphatic from these places drain same side as well as the opposite side. So they cross. Okay, here. Crossing also occur here like this. Okay, same thing here. It also drains the same side of the lymph node and the opposite side of the lymph node. Here. And same thing here in the dorsal part also here like this. Okay, here. Either drain the same side and the opposite side. While the lateral side, lateral margin drains on the same side. Okay, right margin right side, left margin left side. Now, how this comes as a tip, from the tip. Tip here, the few lymphatic passes pierce mylohyoid muscle, and then drains into the submandibular group of the lymph node. Clear? On the opposite side as well as the same side here. This is the opposite side. Here. It pierces the mylohyoid muscle and then drains the submental group of the lymph node. Okay, one case here. Few vessels passes in front of the here hyoid bone and drains into the here the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node. Okay, so few vessels passes here, lymphatics passes over the this hyoid bone and the thyroid membrane and then enters into the here the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node. Okay, they are crossed. Okay, same side and the other side here. Suppose this group here, this can also passes here, drains into the this jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node. Just I label these things. These are the jugulo-digastric lymph node. Okay, this is submandibular lymph node. Submandibular lymph node. These are the submental lymph node, and these are the jugulo-omohyoid. Jugulo-omohyoid lymph node. Okay. So few lymphatics pierces the mylohyoid muscle, enters into the submental group lymph node. Few lymphatic passes through the mylohyoid and then anterior to the hyoid bone and the thyroid membrane and directly enter into the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node. Okay. Now few vessel pierces this mylohyoid muscle and enters into the submandibular group of the lymph node. Okay. And from the submandibular group of the lymph node, then they enter into the here either directly into the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node or via the first jugulo-digastric lymph node, and from the jugulo-digastric ultimately drains into the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node like this. Okay, so submandibular lymph node either directly enter jugulo-omohyoid or via the jugulo-digastric enter into jugulo-omohyoid group of the. So one case here. This is okay, and few vessels passes here without piercing the mylohyoid muscle, okay, here, and enter into the first jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node, then from the jugulo-digastric to the jugulo-omohyoid. Okay, so these are the cases from the tip. Okay, so tip is extensively drained into different lymph nodes. Okay, that's why the carcinoma of the tip of the tongue drain or spread all the lymph nodes of the neck region. Clear? So we have seen one case, one lymph node drains, one lymphatics passes, pierces the mylohyoid, enters submental group of the lymph node. Few lymphatic passes anterior to this hyoid bone, enter into jugulo-digastric lymph node. Few lymphatic passes through the mylohyoid, enters submandibular lymph node. From the submandibular and enters jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node. Few lymphatic passes behind the mylohyoid muscle, enters into the jugulo-digastric group node, and from the jugulo-digastric to the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node. So these are the lymphatics which enters in, which drains the lymph from the tip of the tongue. Clear? Now, what about the lateral side, lateral margin? Lateral margin here, the lymphatic passes here, it enters into the jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node. Very simple. Okay, here. They passes behind the mylohyoid muscle and enter into the jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node, and from the jugulo-digastric group they enters into the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node. Clear? And few vessels here pierces this mylohyoid muscle and enters into the submandibular group of the lymph node. Okay? And from the submandibular lymph node, it enters either via the digastric group of the lymph node or the directly into the jugulo-omohyoid group of the lymph node. Okay? So the two type of the lymphatics. First enter into jugulo-digastric, then jugulo-omohyoid. then either it passes in the submandibular group of the lymph node and then enter into the jugulo-omoid group of the lymph node, or either via the jugulo-digastric then jugulo-omoid. Okay, so these are the lymphatic, and these lymphatics pass in the same side of the lymph node. Clear? Now, third case, it's a central group. Okay, central part is drained by the lymphatic, which passes first. They enters into the pierces the mylohyoid muscle, enter into submandibular group of the lymph node, and from the submandibular group of the lymph node they enter into the jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node, and from jugulo-digastric to the jugulo-omoid group of the lymph node. One thing is here. Second, here these lymphatic also passes directly into the jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node, then enter into the jugulo-omoid group of the lymph node. Clear? So these lymphatics crosses from the midline here. Okay, like this. They enter into the jugulo, there's some submandibular, then from the submandibular to the jugulo-omoid, or either they passes directly into the jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node. Clear? So these are the decussation occur, free decussation occur of the lymphatics in the central region. Now, dorsal site is very important to understand the dorsal site here. Dorsal side, the lymphatic passes bilaterally. Okay, they crosses bilaterally, either the crosses or either the same side. Okay, these lymphatic passes first they pierces the pharyngeal wall and enter into the jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node like this. Okay, and from the jugulo-digastric ultimately enter into jugulo-omoid group of the lymph node. Yeah. So this is one case. Second is one lymphatic is, this is very important. I am drawing the red color. One lymphatic which passes posterior to the dotted line, I will draw this. It passes posterior to the tongue, okay, and posterior to the hyoid bone, okay, and then posterior to the thyroid membrane and pierces the thyroid membrane and then enters into the jugulo-digastric group of the lymph node. Sorry, jugulo-omoid group of the lymph node. Clear? So this is the directly enters, which passes posterior side. Okay. So these lymphatics come from the dorsal side or posterior side here, posterior 1/3 part, passes posteriorly, posterior to the tongue, then the pharyngeal wall, then here behind the hyoid bone, then pierces the thyroid membrane and enter into the jugulo-omoid group of the lymph node. Clear? So these are the lymphatics, how the whole tongue is drained by the different lymphatics divided into the 4 regions: tip, lateral side, lateral margin, central region, and the posterior 1/3. Clear? So these are. Now, peculiarity of the these lymphatics are, these lymphatics do not run with the blood vessels, corresponding blood vessel first. Okay, yeah. Second, in the midline here, these lymphatics of the tongue, they freely cross from the midline. Okay, and they drain into the opposite side or either the same side. Clear? So second thing. And third is tip of the tongue. I told you it is highly drained by the lymphatics. Okay, the lymphatic plexus is richly present in the tip of the tongue, and this apex of the tongue is drained into the so many lymph nodes. We have seen the submental group of the lymph node, submandibular group of the lymph node, this is jugulo-digastric and the jugulo-omoid. All the 4 regions they directly enter here, and that's why the cancer of the carcinoma of the tip of the tongue is spread hugely, and all the lymph nodes are involved when the tip of the tongue is involved in the carcinoma. Clear? So these are, and one important is here. Here, this is the common carotid artery here. This is suppose common carotid artery here, and this is the internal carotid artery, and this is the external carotid artery. Okay, so one group of the lymph node present here along the at the level of the bifurcation of the common carotid artery. Okay, here, and these are suppose along here at the bifurcation of the artery, there is a certain group of the lymph nodes present here, and these group of the lymph nodes are known as the chief lymph nodes of the tongue. Okay, or the principal lymph nodes of the tongue, because these are the lymph nodes which are actually the group of the jugulo-omoid group of the lymph node, but are detached, and here situated at the bifurcation of common carotid artery. So all the lymphatics from the tongue that enters ultimately into these group of the lymph nodes, and these are known as the principal group of the lymph node. Okay, so these are the lymphatics from the tongue, various part of the tongue which drain into the different lymph node. Okay, now come on the applied aspect of the tongue. Applied aspect, there are certain congenital anomalies are found in the tongue. There may be the macroglossia, means tongue is abnormally enlarged, or microglossia. Okay, the tongue is small because the fusion of the lingual swelling occur, either the one swelling develop or another swelling do not develop. So half of the tongue may be present here. Okay, another is tongue tie. Tongue tie, in which the frenulum is normally, which is present, is enlarged, and which what's happened, the tongue is free from the floor of the oral cavity, but sometimes this frenulum is fused in the floor of the oral cavity, so tongue do not have free movement. So there that it is known as a tongue tie. Okay, so this tongue tie. And the third is bifid tongue, real anomaly, bifid tongue, where the both lingual swelling do not fuse, so they tongue is look like a bifid, like the snake tongue. Okay, here bifid tongue. So these are the certain anomalies, and there may be the laceration of the tongue occur. Laceration of the tongue means sometime what's happened, tongue is caught between the teeth during the chewing or during the talking or even in the epileptic fit. So tongue is bitten by these teeth, and there may wound occur here in the, or the laceration occur in the tongue. So it is a laceration of the tongue. Okay, this is the fourth one. Fifth one is here, and the tongue, there is a lingual swell. These are the lingual thyroid may be there. Lingual thyroid. Okay, lingual thyroid means thyroid gland in place of present in the neck region, but now it is shifted towards the substance of the tongue. So this is known as the lingual thyroid here. Sometimes foramen cecum is persist, and the thyroglossal duct continue here and open at the foramen cecum here. So it is the persistence of the thyroglossal duct. Thyroglossal duct. Okay, at the foramen cecum. This is another anomaly, and I think this last anomaly is the carcinoma of the tongue. Carcinoma of tongue. Carcinoma of the tongue is most common in the Indian population due to tobacco chewing here. So the tip of the tongue is most commonly involved, and other sites are also involved, but once the tip of the tongue is involved, it is highly metastatizing, and this type of the carcinoma here spread all the lymph nodes of the tongue. So these are the certain clinical aspect of the tongue. So I think this is all about the tongue. Thank you.